Hey guys, it's Dr. Jansen, and today we're going to talk about solving one-step equations when we are multiplying and dividing. The good news is it's really similar to when we're using addition and subtraction. When you look at our notes, I actually left the ones from addition and subtraction, and that's because they're exactly the same steps. We have the same goal, and that's to get our variable completely alone, positive on the left side. I'm going to put a blue box around that for us right now. We have to be able to answer that those three things are true at the end of solving. If they're not, we have to keep going until it's lone positive on the left side. How are we going to do that? Right over here next to it, we're going to use our inverse operations, and we're going to keep using those until we can answer those things right over here that we just talked about. And along the way, these rules in red just below are the things that are going to help us get there. And that's all you do. So all these things, all these great notes that we have, we're going to solve them the exact same way. So let's get started. All right, so number one right here, we're going to do 2y equals negative 16. Okay? So let's look. Is y, we have to determine our variable, number one. And our variable right here is y. Is it alone? Nope, it's got this 2 hanging out over here with it. Is it positive? Yes. There is no negative sign over here. There would be a negative if it was not. And is it on the left side? It is. So it's positive on the left side. Problem is it's not alone. So we determine the variable, check. We determine the variable sign, it's positive, check. Number 3, we have to use our inverse operations to isolate the variable. Awesome, we can do that. So right now, this 2 and this y are connected by multiplication. How do we know that? I'm sitting here going like this with my hands. That's because whenever we have a number in a variable or a variable in a variable, when they're smushed right together and there's no operation in between them, and what I mean by that, an operation is an addition, subtraction, multiplication, or division sign. So if we don't see a plus sign here, or we don't see a minus sign here, or we don't see a division sign here, that's what I mean when I say operation. Like you would see a physical, mathematical operation in between those two numbers. If you don't see any kind of operation between there, it automatically means to multiply. So if they're smushed up against each other, or if it was two variables, if it was like x times y, like that, same thing. If there is no operation squeezed in between here like a plus sign, I know that it's a bad plus sign. It's kind of hard to see. But if there's nothing in between there, it automatically means to multiply. Okay? So this is telling us do 2 times y. Okay? So 2 times y, I need to get rid of that. So I need to do the inverse of that. What's the opposite of 2 times y? That would be division. So if I do divided by 2, that will cancel. If I do divided by 2 on that side, I also have to do divided by 2 on that side to keep my equation balanced. These will cancel, and that will leave me with just y on this side. Negative 16 divided by 2. You can put that in your calculator, or if you know that in your head, that's great too. Gives me negative 8. Make sure you put that negative with that 16. That's really important. If a number has a sign, you've got to make sure you plug that in your calculator. Okay? Let's do number 2. Number 2 is x divided by 5 equals, oh goodness, my stylus is jumping around, equals 4. Okay? So, gotta ask myself my 3 questions after I determine my variable. Number 1, determine my variable. It is x, check. Now I gotta say, is it alone? It is not. It's hanging out with divided by 5. Is it positive? Yep, there's no negative here. Is it on the left side? It is. It's on the left. So I just have to get rid of the part that makes it not alone, because it's positive and it's on the left side. So that would be getting rid of the divided by 5 part. Okay? So I checked the variable sign. It was positive. Now I've just got to use inverse operations to isolate the variable. So what is the inverse operation of divided by 5? What's the opposite of dividing? Multiplying. So that means I'm going to do times 5 times 5. And that these canceled, so that left me with just x. And 4 times 5 is 20. So is x alone? Yes. Is it positive? Yes. Is it on the left side? Yes. So we solved it. Sorry, I forgot to go over that one for the first one. So, all right, last one. Let's look at number 3. We have 3 equals negative n. Okay. So, locate my variable. Cool, it's n. Got that down. Now I have to go, is n alone? It is. Nothing over here. Great. Is it positive? It is not. There's a negative. It is a negative n. So can't check that one. And is it on the left side? It is not. It's on the right side. Okay? So actually I gotta take that one away. It's only alone. Okay? So we gotta solve this. So I determine variable signs, so I can check that one. Got to do inverse operations to isolate the variable. I can actually check that one off because it's already alone in this case, so I don't need to isolate. Remember, isolate is just the same thing for getting it alone. So, but the problem here is that even though it's alone, it's not positive. Okay, not positive yet. So remember, we did one of these in an earlier problem. Okay. How this is really -1, okay? And it's really -1 times n, because if there's a number, like we said in number 1, just squished up right against a variable and there's no operation between here, it's really multiplication. So the inverse operation of multiplication, what's the opposite of multiplying? Dividing. So we're going to divide by -1. That means we also have to divide 3 by -1 to keep our equation balanced. 3 divided by -1 gives us -3. Again, always feel free to punch things in your calculator if you're not great at that. It's more important that we get the right answer, that it's accurate. And so we're left with -3 equals just n. That helped us to get rid of that negative in front of the n when these canceled out. So we get -3 equals n. Again, you could put this as your final answer. It's not technically wrong, but I really think it's a great habit to get into, to flip that around and write it where n is on the left side. So you just solved one-step equations using multiplication and division. Great job. See you soon.